All right, here we go with Jasper Active. This is lesson 3, learn 3. If you're just starting in a lesson, you need to double click on your Jasper Active icon on your desktop. Even if you've got the website saved, you should go through that Jasper Active icon. You're going to click here so you can enter your email. It should not ask you for a password. If it does, you've clicked on the wrong link. I'm going in this way. You don't do that. Do as I say, not as I do. And as a student, this is what you'll see. You may or may not have as many programs as I do. But you're going to only need Microsoft Word. Click on Microsoft Word and the Lesson 3 tab. There are 6 learns. Be sure that you have used the Activate All button to get all of these learns. And we are working on Learn 3, Setting Tabs. I'm going to click on Practice because I've already done this. You will click on the word Learn. Patience with Jasper Active. Here it comes. Unmark all of these as answered. If you missed it in my last videos, this is just for your record keeping. This does not affect whether you get an answer right or not, but you can mark these individual things as answered if you'd like. When you first get into the lesson, they'll all be yellow. And the very first one, align text. First step says create a new blank document. Now you'll notice that it's not telling us go to File, click New, click Blank Document, because that's something we've done, so it's expecting us to know that already now. So File, New, Blank Document. And it says type ABC Media as the title. I'm going to do that. Capital ABC Media. My text is red. It's just so you can see it, but I will change it to black so it matches yours. And let me zoom in a little bit so you can see my screen a little better. I'm using that zoom slider at the bottom of the screen that we learned about. Alright, then it says, then in the paragraph group of the Home tab, click Center. So we are in the Home tab. This is the paragraph group. And if we hover over it, it'll tell us this is center. You'll notice that it moves to the center of the page. I am zoomed in so you're not seeing all of my page, but there we go. You can see that it's in the center now. Then it says press enter. Oops, just once. Now I've got my show hide symbols on. That's this button right here that we've learned about. If I turn them off, they disappear. That's just behind the scenes formatting. I like to use them whenever I'm doing Jasper Active so I can see what's going on. Sometimes it's optional and sometimes the program actually has you use that feature. Alright, it says notice how Word has centered the text between the margins, and when you pressed enter to start a new line, this line is also centered a line. So because we're continuing on from a line, we've hit enter, it's applied the same formatting. Now it says type consolidated balance sheet and press enter. Consolidated balance sheet. Press enter. Now, if you'd like, you can also copy using this symbol here, or Control-C, and then going over here and right-clicking, or Control-V to paste. And it says type at June 30. Just right there, at June 30. Press enter. The 3 lines of the report name are now centered on the page. We can see that. In the line below the at June 30 title, so the line below here, press Control L to apply the left alignment format to this line of text and every line thereafter until you specify another alignment type. So Control L goes to the left side of my margin, so all of my text will now be left aligned. It says press Enter again to insert more space between the title and the upcoming report figures. Enter there. Now mark that as answered. Click the arrow to go to the next instruction, which is using the tab selector. Number 1 says, on the ruler, click the tab selector until the right tab character appears. And I know this can be confusing to some. This is the tab selector. So this area right here, its default setting is to have a left tab, which means the tab that you use would be aligned on the left-hand side. But then when you click on it, it will change. This is a center tab. And if you hover over it, it'll tell you this is a right tab. There's also a decimal tab, so you can align your decimals. And the tab selector is where you decide what type. There's also an indent. And then wherever you click on the ruler, it's going to add that tab. Now tab normally, if I hit the tab key, it's going to go ahead 5 spaces. That's the normal setting. Once I set a tab selector on my ruler, then it will go there and it will use the alignment that I've told it by which one I've selected. Now the ruler is very temperamental. I'm not going to lie to you. And this might be where you really want a computer mouse instead of using the little buttons on your laptop screen. That is up to you if you need to borrow one. I have some that I can loan to you, just like the library. When you're in class, I'll have them available for you as well, but things like this, where it's very temperamental, is where it may really benefit you to have one of these computer mice. So keep that in mind. So the first one says, click the tab selector until the right tab appears. So I'm going to click it twice. That is my right tab. If I hover, it will tell me that. That means that everything I tab to is going to align on the right. Then click at the 3.5 or 8.9 centimeter mark on the ruler, which for me is right here. When I click there, nothing happened that time, so I'm going to click again. There we go. We can see this right tab is now at 3.5 on the ruler. This is 3, this is 4, this is 3.5. The first time I clicked, I was actually clicking from the directions in Jasper Active here into the document, and then I can apply the tab. Also, you'll note here that it says if the ruler is not displayed on the View tab in the Show group, select the Ruler checkbox to display the ruler. So if you're not seeing this ruler here, you need to go into View, the View tab, and click Ruler. Now if you can't see that, it may be because your Word is half screen, so you'll get a Show box, and then you can click Ruler. So either way, one of the two. Go. Alright, number 2 says click at the 5.5 inch or 14.0 centimeter mark on the ruler. So I'm going to go to 5.5 and click so that I have another right tab here on my ruler. It says you are setting right aligned tab stops at which you will enter the values in the report, which are whole integers. That is, they contain no decimal places. So if we wanted to align things with our decimals, we may choose a decimal tab, but we're going to use the right tab here to align some numbers. I'll show you what that looks like. So we can mark as answered. Move into the next one, which is align text using tabs. So it says press tab and type current year as the title of the first column of values. So here I am. I'm pressing tab. It's going to go now to that tab space that I set at 3.5, and it's going to align everything on the right. So you'll notice when I type what that looks like. Previous year. It aligned everything instead of on the left to the right. and it says press tab again and type previous year as the title of the second column. So tab again, it's going to go to that tab that I selected. Type, whoops, I just realized I made a mistake. This should be current year. Right over here, previous year. I got ahead of myself there. It says, and then press enter to start a new line of text. So it's referring here to columns. Columns are up and down. Rows are left and right. So if you've ever done crossword puzzles, think of the columns as your down, and then your across is your row. Hit enter to start a new line of text. You'll notice that I still have these tab stops set. Really important to point out that wherever you set the tab stops is the line that they're going to be at. So I started using them right here, so they still exist here, but when I go up into this line here, they're gone. So just as with formatting, wherever you are is where you're going to apply that formatting. I don't have tab stops up here either, but they do follow with you. So since I hit enter from this, they are still present in the next line here. So that's something important to remember. All right, now click the Home tab, and in the paragraph group, whoops, I just hit a button on my keyboard. It would have been the Windows key. All right. Now in number 3, it says click the Home tab, and in the paragraph group, click the Show Hide button to activate this feature. So I already have my Show Hide button activated, but I'm clicking in the Home tab, and in the paragraph group, Show Hide feature, I already have it on, but I'm going to turn it off and turn it back on again just so the program recognizes that I've done that, so I don't get that marked wrong. It says you should now see an arrow pointing the right each time you press the tab key to move to the next column, which I do. Mark is answered. Next it says continue typing the rest of the table as seen in the following, pressing tab to move to the next column and then pressing enter at the end of each line. So one thing I've seen confuse people is they'll type assets and then they'll start typing the number. So make sure, clicking into the document, assets is actually going to be its own line. So it's here, I'm going to hit enter. And then I'm going to type cash, I'm going to hit tab. This is a $, which is shift and the number 4 key. And 45, 430. Then I'm going to hit tab again. Numbers, my $, 4, 536. Enter. Customer deposits. And tab, and this time just the number, no $, 85, 903, tab, 75, 930. All right, that is what it should look like. Now it's asking us to save the document. I want you to notice these little A's here. Decrease and increase the font size. So if I use this to decrease the size of these instructions, I can see that as they intended it and it matches. I like to have them a little bigger so I can see things better, but that is how you can increase or decrease that font size. That's however you like it. Alright, so we're going to save this document. It's not telling us how because it expects us to know that skill by now. So, but we know that we can click File, Save As, Browse. It's telling us to save it in our My Projects folder, which hopefully you already have your name folder pinned here to your quick access. If not, you are going to Windows C, Jasper Active, and your name folder. When you're here, if you right click You can pin to quick access, so you can skip the first part of the address and go straight to the folder that we use most. When we're saving things, it's almost always, as far as I've seen so far, in the My Projects folder, and the resource files and starter files are the files that we use to open. So make sure you're in the My Projects folder so you don't miss this question. Now that we're there, it says save the document as balance sheet student. So in the file name box, type in balance sheet student. In My Projects folder, doesn't tell me specifically what type, so I'm going with the regular Word document. Save. Okay, mark as answered. Next. Now it says open the ABC media file located in the C Jasper Active, your name folder, resource files folder. Notice that this document contains additional line items which complete the balance sheet you started previously. So in order to open file, it's File, Open, Browse. We're going to find our name folder, which you should have now pinned to quick access. And then in Resource Files, there is the ABC Media file. Double click to open that. And I can see, yes, it does have additional items there. Mark is answered. Alright, now it says press Control A. This is one of the shortcuts that I use quite often. For Control A to select the entire content of the file. So you need to click into the document first, press Control A, and everything should be selected. Then it says on the Home tab in the paragraph group, click line and paragraph spacing. You should remember that from All About Me, Ice Cream Truck. And then click remove space after paragraph. So on the Home tab, in the paragraph group, we've got our line and paragraph spacing here. We click the arrow, remove space after paragraph, which is going to make things get a lot more condensed. Alright, mark as answered. Next, apply formatting. So select the text from ABC Media to the end of the word assets. So from ABC Media, which is here, to the end of the word assets, which is there. Press Control B. You'll notice it turns bold. Then select the 3 title lines of the report from ABC Media to at June 30. So just these first 3. On the Home tab, click the arrow for font size and click 16. So here's our font size. Click on that arrow, 16. Then select the total assets line, which is going to be the end of the assets section. And notice that because I had my arrow over here in the margin here, instead of a regular cursor, I'm able to select the entire line all at once just by clicking. Now it says press the Control key and then select the following. Do not release the key until you have selected the total liabilities and equity line. So this is what we had done in our last lesson, where we're going to select different lines of text at the same time. So I'm going to press the Control key, and then I'm going to select liabilities, total liabilities, shareholders' equity, total shareholders' equity, and total liabilities and equity. And now I can release the Control key, and I've got these different lines of text selected. It says with only these lines selected, press Control B. So Control B is going to turn those lines bold. And it says select only the values 2,293,429 and 2,283,740 for the total liabilities and equity row. So you will notice Now that I pointed out that there are actually two spots where it has those numbers, and we want the one for the total liabilities and equity row, which is this one here. So those are the ones you should have selected. It says on the Home tab in the Font group, click the Font Dialog Box Launcher. You might remember this from Small Caps case in All About Me. These small arrows here, just like in the clipboard group that we used last time, are the dialog box launchers. Each group has one. Each main group, I say, as I look at these, which we don't use often. Those are add-ons, actually. They don't come pre-installed with Word. So all of the Word groups have a dialog box launcher. You're going to click on that. There's that small cap that we used to use. This time we're going to use the underline style. So we're going to click the underline style drop-down box and then click the double line option, which is this one right here. And then click OK. Now I also could have done that by clicking the underline arrow here and selecting it, but we're going to do exactly what Jasper Active tells us in order to get credit for performing that skill. Alright, now we can mark that as answered. You'll notice we've got a double underline in our document. We'll move to the next one. Alright, this says select each of the items listed under assets from cash to $1,927,350. So, from cash to $1,927,350. Then on the ruler, click and drag the left indent marker 2 marks to the right. Alright, the very bottom is our left indent. So you want to make sure that you click on the very bottom of this little area on the ruler. And we're going to drag it 2 marks to the right. So 1, 2. Now it says, now try using the repeat shortcut to indent the items for the other 2 categories in this report. And it's going to tell us how to do that. So select the 2 lines of values for liabilities. So accounts payable and mortgage payable, and press Ctrl Y. Notice how these lines are now indented by the same amount as in the assets category. Then it says select the 2 lines of values for shareholders' equity, share capital and retained earnings, and press Ctrl Y once more. Notice how these lines are now indented by the same amount. Alright, mark as answered. Suppose you would like to adjust the columns more to the right to balance the information on the page. So, click in the column headings line, the paragraph that starts with current year. And I can do that entire line just by having my arrow and clicking there. Then it says, on the ruler, drag the 3.5, 8.9 centimeter tab marker 1 mark to the right, equivalent to 3.62. So we're taking this that we set at 3.5 and moving it 1 to the right. You'll notice that moved to a line there. It says, notice how only the current year title on this line was adjusted. Remember that once text is typed, to change the tab setting for the lines of text, you must select which lines of text to indicate to Word that the tab settings on these lines should be affected. So this one moved, but this one did not. So if I click in this line, it's still got my original tab set there. Mark as answered. Now it says, on the Quick Access toolbar, which is this up here in our upper left corner, click Undo to reverse the last action. So I'm going to click this, but you'll notice nothing's going to happen until I make that document active. So it turned white up here as soon as I clicked the first time. You have to do that in order to activate that document, and then click the undo. It says, then select from the column titles line to the end of the last value for total liabilities and equity, and adjust the tab settings to your preferences. So, select from the column titles line all the way to total liabilities and equity. So all the way down, and adjust the tab settings to your preferences. So you can move these to whatever you think looks good. I'm going to go with maybe 4 and 6, space it out a little bit more there. You'll notice that everything aligned on the right-hand side. You can click on this if you'd like to see an example of what it should look like and compare it with your document there. Now ours actually has an underline all the way across here. And I'm going to check that out to make sure that I didn't miss something. Let me go back to apply formatting. So it says select only the values for the total liabilities and equity row. So I selected all of this. Now it may be, I am not sure if it will count this as correct or not, if you don't just select this and then use the control key to select this one. So the skill we used of selecting text without something in the middle, you can use that by selecting one, control, select the other, and then go into the dialog box, the font dialog box, right there, and selecting your double underline. Since we've already done that, I can actually click on the line in between it, go into my underline there, and say none, and now it's going to look exactly like that other document. So you can always go back and adjust things in the end if you need to. Our very last step. Now our document looks exactly like that one. Close that box. I am going to mark as answered and submit. Submit results. We got 100%. Woohoo! And return to Jasper Active. Which is opening on my other screen. Pull that down for you. There we go. And that is Lesson 3, Learn 3, Setting Tabs. I also want to point out to you that you can open these to see everything underneath there and what you might need to go back in and try again. You can sometimes go in and fix one thing without having to do the whole lesson again. Now once you've selected these, the way to close them again so you can maybe get it into one screenshot or on one page is just to click on the lesson tab, and it will automatically condense them for you again.